You know, I kind of hate it when the music runs out about 30 seconds before it should. However, hello everybody. Joshua Praise, hello. You're eager, awesome. I'm hoping you're still around. Brittany Blogs, hello to you. Trailblazer, hello to you. I would say hello to Chivalrous Tube, but we've already been speaking on a different platform. So hello to you, Chivalrous Tube. I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. He's very much a regular. He attends my live shows and I don't want to offend anybody. So here we go. Witchcraft Wednesday coming up right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, poison dwarfs, please put your hands and hooves together for the man with all the magic, the man with the real wizardry, and that guy with the bald head. It's Neil Trigger.
Yeah. It worked, which is cool. That's me. Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back to Real Wizardry, where we make your life more magical. You may well know that this is like, it used to be Real World Magic, now it's called Real Wizardry. The whole idea really about Witchcraft Wednesday is to cater for people who want to know more about real magic, not just the sort of sleight of handy stuff, the illusion stuff and the fire intro stuff, but sort of the real witchcrafty kind of things. So here we go, I guess. Welcome to everybody, and if you do have any kind of questions about witchcraft, then please do get in touch on the chat. I'd be really interested to hear your sort of take on this sort of thing as well. So I've got a couple of questions. I'm more than happy to answer anything that you guys throw at me, but I do have some prepared ones as well. I'd rather treat these as like a fallback. So if you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat, and then I'll aim to answer them. I've got a whole load of resources here, spell books and crystal Bibles and encyclopedias and all that sort of stuff, plus my big noggin. My brain's so big it's pushing my hair out. That's not true. It shrank in the wash. Do I like Gryffindor? Yeah. Now this week is actually Gryffindor Pride Day. So to answer that, I don't dislike Gryffindor. I'm a Ravenclaw and I'm a proud one. So I'm not going to say that I like Gryffindor any more than any other house. But I don't hate them. They're all right. Pride Week, not Pride Day. Yeah. So Gryffindor Pride Week this week, not Gryffindor Pride Day. Sorry. Finally, we started already. Yeah, hello Joshua, how are you doing? Welcome. I think you're probably fairly new here, so what I tend to do is sort of fun and documentary style videos about pretty much anything to do with magic, and then the occasional live stream like this. Normally I do a live show on a Saturday where I speak to a talking elephant, so let's say hello to Frank the talking elephant. You'll get kind of an idea as to what that's all about.
Hello.
Hi Frank, how you doing? You alright?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want to say hello to everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Go on then.
Hello.
Yeah, bit of a slow reaction today, isn't it, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah. Pride Week, not Pride Day, yeah. So we have Brittany and Joshua. I think everyone else is a regular today.
Okay.
So do you want to say hello to those two then?
Hello.
Yeah. So this is Frank, our talking elephant. Bit frivolous, and I know this isn't kind of witchcraft. That's probably not why you're here. But hey, don't panic too much, because we are going to talk about real witchcraft, aren't we, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, not actually you. No.
No.
Because you're just here to sort of say hello to the members, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. I would ask you to do a few more bits, but we can't really do that today.
Why?
Why? Well, it's because I haven't done as much back work as I should have done.
You need to program the buttons properly.
I do. Do you want to say hello to all the members then?
Yes.
Yeah, go on then, because they do catch it up on catch up, don't they? Sometimes.
Yes.
Go on then.
Hello, Artemis. Hello, Mum. I mean, Blue Lady. Hello, Chivalrous Tube. Hello, Jay Scheffler. I got it right this week. Yay! Hello, Jovis. Hello, Kaylee Christensen. Hello, Tina Harrington. Hello, everybody else. If you want me to say hello to you personally, you need to be a member. Like right now. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much anyway. I think everybody knows that, you know, they should become members and stuff.
They should all become patrons immediately.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So I think we can say goodbye to you then, Frank.
Okay.
Right, see you later.
Goodbye.
Yes, I'm new. This is my second time on your channel. Oh, cool. I'm not sure that I've seen you before, but apologies. We do get a fair sort of, what do you call it, churn? A fair number of people popping in every now and then. But it's lovely to have you back. So hi and welcome. Okay, so if you haven't already, check me out on Patreon, all of that sort of stuff. The website as well is coming up very soon. I don't know why. There's this thing up here, so I'm just going to see if I can take that out. One moment, please. Because it is starting to kind of annoy me a bit. It shouldn't be doing that. There we go. Much better. So yeah, if you want to head on over to realworldmagic.net, I'm also currently building realwizardry.com. You can have a look at that. It does kind of look pretty groovy, I think, but it's not quite finished yet. There are some things that we are building at the moment. There's actually a game where you can brew your own potion, so it's going to be good when it's finished. It'll be like,
Wowee.
yeah, it will be good. Okay, let's get rid of that for a moment and say a massive thank you to my patrons and members. These guys are amazing. Guys and girls, I should point out. And if you want to become one of these wonderful people, head on down to the links in the description where you can join this channel from only £1.99 of your human pence. Faith does magic. Hello to you. You do magic. Awesome. Me too. So in today's video, we're just going to be talking about a whole load of witchcrafty stuff. If anyone's got any questions, please do put them in the chat. I'll do my very, very best to answer them. If you've got any opinions, by all means share them. Please be respectful, obviously. I don't know why I have to say that, but, you know, some people, yeah. Okay, so let's get rid of these wonderful members. Thank you very much. Not permanently, obviously. Please hang about. And let's get cracking with some of these questions. So I haven't seen any questions in here other than Chivalrous Tube asking whether or not I'm drinking Pepsi. It is Pepsi. There's nothing else in it. It's unadulterated. It's not this one, though. It's actually the Aldi one. Not that you're really interested. It's not the Professor Peppy stuff, the Dr. Pepper knockoff. It's the Cherry Cola. Okay. By the way, if you haven't already checked me out on TikTok, I'm getting big. We launched it yesterday and I've had over 100 followers already. Not views, followers. That's pretty cool. So yeah, bonkers. Am I buffering? I don't think I'm buffering. No, dropped frames, 0. Connection, excellent. I think it might be you. Sorry, mate. Okay, so we do have some questions, though. We do have some questions. So if anyone does have any questions, by all means, put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. But I do have some topics for discussion. These are really just backups. There you go. Brittany Blogs, you came from TikTok. Cool, man. Man, obviously not. But you know what I mean. Awesome. That's good. Okay, so topics for discussion today. Magical crystals and do they work in spells? Well, I've got a magical crystal Bible up on my shelf. I won't get it down because if I take it down, it's basically green, so it'll just go invisible, kind of like that sort of thing. So I'm not going to do that because, you know, there's no point showing you something that's ultimately invisible. However, yeah, it's called the Crystal Bible. It covers a whole load of different crystals and tells you their uses and their vibrations and the colour and how to identify them and all of that sort of good stuff. Personally, I think that crystals do help with magic. I actually once went to a psychic fair.
Wowee.
In fact, I've been to a couple of psychic fairs. Some of them are a little bit, well, quite a lot more dodgy than others. In fact, to the point where you kind of... Yeah, so Some of them were quite good, some of them really weren't. This one particular workshop that I went in very sceptical, thinking, oh, really, come on? And they had these crystals and they handed them all out to everybody, and they said, hold them in your hands and charge them up with the memory of your, some sort of very strong, powerful memory. And then hand it to the person next to you, and they can read from what you've charged into this thing. It's kind of like a battery, I guess. So you hold this crystal in your hand and concentrate and think of this memory, and then you hand it to somebody else, and they hand you theirs. You basically swap with someone else, and then you hold it and you try and read what they've imprinted onto the crystal. Interesting idea, and I was quite surprised that these things just popped into my head. Now, whether that's my intuition or my imagination, and I just said things in Barnum statements like, oh, there's a wavy window, and I don't know what it was. It seemed like I was reading their mind. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think crystals can help you at least focus, and I've had lots of experiences with magic with regard to the crystals that I've got. One of them is a crystal ball that my wife bought me when I think she bought it for Christmas when I was 20. And I looked into it and I saw a lot of things that freaked me out because they all came true. So there you go. I have a ton of different zeolite types, having a hard time identifying them though. I'm not the greatest on identifying crystals, I'll be honest. I can kind of get an idea, oh, that's green, therefore it might be this or this or this or this. That's about it. And the other thing is that some crystals, like quartz for example, comes in so many different colours, it's very difficult to identify what's what, really. Strong memory, can you use the crystal to get rid of dementors? No, because dementors aren't real.
Wowee.
Or are they?
Oh, really?
No, they're not real. So, there you go. Trailblazer, that must be a really old crystal ball then. It is. Yeah. So what you're saying is, Andy, that I am old. Thanks for that. Yeah, so Laura bought it for me when I was 20, and I've used it to predict people becoming pregnant and crashing cars and doing things that I would never have thought that they would normally do consciously, or never consciously have thought that they would do, and they ended up doing them. And these were things as well, because I didn't have any contact with some of these people at all, and I found out later that that's exactly what did happen. I can't give you any examples for fear of identifying who these people are and details about their lives, but trust me when I say it was freaky, and no one was more freaked out than me. Can you predict when I will become pregnant, said Chivalrous Tube, the man. I think it's unlikely that it's going to be anytime soon, simply because advances in medical science would suggest that you're probably never going to get pregnant. Yeah, there you go. There's 60 different zeolite types. Pray for me. Cool, blimey. I did not know that. That's bonkers. So I don't think I don't know, maybe I'm going to be able to do this. Let me just check on whether or not I'm able to show you something as well. With any luck, I can. Please hold. What's this? Yeah. I'll be right with you, because I just want to show you something awesome. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What's my favourite crystal and why? I'll come back to you. Actually, I've just seen another message from Joshua. I had a hard time finding myself. I feel very unfulfilled. Can magic help me? Absolutely. And sorry, Chivalrous Tube, but I think that's probably a little bit more important. So can magic help you find yourself? Yes. There are lots of different ways that you can enliven or awaken yourself. The main thing really is to know yourself, to understand yourself better, I think. And I think that that's a very good thing that you could use magic for, actually. So I'm just going to... Oh, why is that doing that? That's really rude. I'm just checking something now. But yeah, absolutely. I think what you could do, it depends on what sort of magic that you like doing, whether that be crystal magic, candle magic, music, or earth magic, air magic, that sort of thing. There's a whole different load of stuff that you could do. I suggest getting some sort of beginner's magic book and kind of going from there, really. I'm just having a look at realwizardry.com, which doesn't seem to be working. Don't quite know why, so I'm going to have a bit of a look into that. I was developing it at lunchtime today, and no, that's not working at all. Okay, hey ho, never mind. Dr. Christine, hello to you, and Nico Zhang. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. I'm not sure. Does Buddhists believe in the types of crystal? Now the question is really whether or not a specific person believes in that sort of thing. For example, you can have Christian witches, you can have Muslim witches, you can have Hindu witches to a certain extent. It really just depends on how the witchcraft can be included. And so when it comes to crystals specifically, it really depends on whether or not they believe in the whole ecosystem of magic, I suppose. And even within that, some people believe in crystals, some people don't. So it's very hard to answer that question. But if you're a Buddhist and you want to believe in crystals, no one's going to stop you, I don't think. Some organised religions try to dissuade people from practicing magic. Certainly the evangelical Christians don't like magic because it says in the Bible, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." It's actually in the Bible. That does not mean kill them, by the way. That's the justification that people used in the Salem witch trials. But all it means is try to convert them to the way of Christianity. But even Christ said in the Bible, "All this and more you shall do," which suggests to me that maybe he's encouraging people to use magic rather than dissuading them. Who knows? Harry Potter videos, hello to you. I saw you in my comments, I think. Chivalrous Tube, did you get your phone back? Yeah, he did. I did. Does Buddhists believe in psychic better than Christianity? I don't like the whole idea of comparing one religion to another and saying one is better than the other. I would say that the Buddhists tend to be a bit more aware of themselves and a bit more... they like to meditate more. So they tend to have a bit more... I don't really know the right way of putting it, but they believe in something called Qi, which is like this universal life energy. So if you've heard of Tai Chi, the Qi from that comes from the universal life energy. And Buddhists try to sort of identify with the Qi. So... yeah, potentially. They kind of... I guess they understand themselves a bit better. From my point of view, I think that magic really comes from your unconscious mind. I do believe it's a real thing. I don't believe that we fully understood it yet, but I think that the answer is probably somewhere in the unconscious mind. What's my favourite crystal? I think Moldavite is particularly cool. It's quite a rare crystal because it comes from the impact of asteroids. So it's called the alien stone sometimes because it can only be made with certain spacey kind of things and high velocity, high impact, high pressure, and it normally happens around asteroid landing sites. So there's one in sort of Central Asia, I think it is, somewhere around there. There's this long trail of kind of destruction, I guess. But along that trail, there was lots of moldavite formed because of extreme heat, extreme pressure, extreme friction, all of that sort of stuff kind of made this crystal work. They are quite expensive, but they're very good for transformation. They're also pretty expensive. Yeah, moldavite is particularly expensive. Right, sorry, everyone's typing, which is fantastic. Keep it coming, by the way. I'm going to try and keep up. Chivalrous Tube is too dangerous. Well, potentially, yeah. Way too dangerous for my liking. Moldavite, I'm guessing, is what you're talking about there. And then Joshua Praise, I'm sometimes able to see the future for others. Cool, me too, and I'll get back to that in a second. And sometimes also able to make things happen faster than it should. But this doesn't work on me. I don't know anything about my own future. That's often the case, and I don't know why. Possibly because you're too involved in it, and maybe you just need to take a step back and see yourself almost as someone else. Yeah. With regard to seeing the future, sometimes you can have prophetic dreams, and sometimes you can also scry using either a black mirror or a crystal ball or some other sort of thing. We'll come on to that hopefully in a minute when we talk about tarot cards. Maybe we'll get onto that. I have felt magic for as long as I can remember, but often not practiced, and unfortunately at this time I need to be able to make some magic happen. Please help, said Dr. Kristen. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to help specifically, but I can certainly point you in the right direction. On October the 8th, my dog was stolen. I have not been able to bring him home. I can't make any promises with regard to that, but what you could do is a finding spell. Again, have a look on Google. There are quite a few of them. You could also go into an esoteric or a magic shop to pick up some spellbook ideas. I often think that if you're going to create your own spell, it's best to come from you. So although you can get some ideas from a spellbook, I wouldn't just pick one up and do it, because then it's just very impersonal. And as I said, I think it all comes from the unconscious mind anyway, which means that it's your unconscious mind, your whole body, your whole being, acting to find things and put things in place that even you don't understand what you're doing or why, but you're kind of taking little baby steps towards things. And if you're just grabbing someone else's spell and doing it from a book, I don't think you're really doing yourself any justice. I think the best thing to do is to use your intuition, create your own spell, and then put it out into the universe, and hopefully something good will happen. So I wish you luck on that. For some reason, I can only see my own messages in chat today, said Trailblazer. That is strange, and I don't know why. Maybe refresh? I'm not sure. Where do I buy real crystals, said Brittany Blogs. Well, you could buy them online. It's quite difficult sometimes to know whether they are real. And the reason being is there are some unreputable sources, so I definitely seek out some good ones. You can go on Facebook and you can join witchcraft groups and things like that. Harry Potter video's got to go. Bye. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching. Please do click that like button and all of that sort of thing. I haven't done that yet, have I? Click that like button, subscribe, ding the bell button to be notified of future uploads, all that sort of thing. So yeah, whoa, don't know what happened there. I think I pressed the wrong button. So with regard to buying real crystals, I think it's really important that you go for someone reliable. However, I've bought a whole load of stuff from a Chinese company, again on Amazon, but the Chinese company provided these crystals, and I know that they're genuine crystals, and the reason being is they're so cheap anyway. A lot of crystals are very, very cheap. Now obviously if you want to buy diamonds or selenite wands or things like that, they can be expensive, and at that point you can see why people would create resin ones, especially selenite ones. They look really good, but as soon as you pick them up you know instantly they're plastic. So with regard to actually buying them, I think I would look at all of the reviews, and I mean you can go on Amazon to buy them, that's not a problem. If you go into a jewel shop or a crystal shop, you see them on high streets, depending on where you are in the world. That's the other thing actually, Brittany Blogs, whereabouts are you? but certainly in this country, you can go into a shop and you can browse around and see which ones attract you. I would definitely ask for recommendations if you don't know where you're going or what you're doing. TikTok taught me to buy from Etsy. Yeah, see what you did there. Like it. So yeah, I've got an Etsy shop. The links are down in the description if you want to buy stuff from there. I don't have any crystals yet though, but I do have potions and things like that. And likewise on my website, if you buy a potion from my Etsy store, fairly soon, not quite yet, but fairly soon, if you buy a potion, then you can get some free virtual potions where you can start brewing your own potions on my website, which is going to be fun. So, Joshua Praise, my dreams aren't vivid, I need help. What must I do to cleanse myself? Well, interestingly, I had a dream last night that I was in an elevator down to hell. That wasn't a very nice dream. So I'm hoping that that's not vivid and hoping that that's not going to take me off somewhere. But, hey, don't give it away. No, sorry. Or scratch glass with it? What? I'm going to need to go back, I think. What must I do to cleanse myself? Now, I am actually doing a video on this about how to cleanse a circle and how to cast a circle and all of that sort of thing. So real sort of beginner's witchcrafty stuff. With regard to how to cleanse yourself, a lot of people have ritual baths. If you don't have a bath, you could always use a shower. You could even wash your face in salt water, that sort of thing. Make sure you close your eyes because it can sting a lot. All of that sort of thing, but again, that's that sort of fairly basic witchcrafty stuff that you'll get from any beginner's witchcraft book. One way to tell is to check if the crystal is cold. It should always be cold, even in room temperature. It should, yeah. So, like glass, they should have a latent sort of coldness about them. Your body temperature is about 36 degrees centigrade. Room temperature is about 20, which means that because the glass is an insulator, if you put your lips up against it, for example, maybe don't do that during a pandemic, but you should be able to feel it with your fingers anyway. It's going to be a different enough temperature differential that you should be able to feel it. But if you pick it up, then it should feel cold. He's absolutely right. What in the world? That's a horrible dream, says Chivalrous Tube. I know, tell me about it. Or scratch glass with it. Yeah, I wouldn't scratch glass with a crystal, especially if you're not buying that crystal from someone else. And unless you're going to carry some glass with you to scratch, don't quite know what that's all about. So yeah, I think that crystals are a legitimate way of doing magic. I think they can increase your magic, and I think you can direct things either into them or from them. And a lot of people use crystals in magic wands when you're actually building a magic wand. So, for example, I'm going to use a Harry Potter wand, Neville Longbottom's wand. It looks just like a piece of wood. Now, if this were a real magic wand, like from the Museum of Witchcraft or something, it would probably have some crystals either tied to it or tipped on the end, maybe some beads, maybe some ribbon. It would certainly look a lot different to that. Now, I know in the Harry Potter universe they've got cores. You can potentially have a real magic wand with a core, but often that's either powdered something, like powdered quartz or selenite or something like that. But they hardly ever look like that. Often it'll have dangly bits from it. And usually with crystals. So crystals can definitely be used in magic wands just to direct energy and things like that. What are some good beginner crystals that you would recommend? I personally would recommend goldstone. Now, goldstone is kind of... It looks like a rusty colour, like a rusty orange, but it's got tiny little bits of glittery gold in it. And I think, number one, it looks quite nice. I don't particularly like orange, which is why I stopped wearing mine. But I used to wear it around my neck all the time to give me more money. And it always seemed to work. Whenever I needed money, I always seemed to be able to get it. Hematite's a very good one, although I wouldn't bother getting a hematite ring. A lot of people have a ring made of hematite. This isn't one, this is just metal, but some people have hematite rings and they wonder why they break, and they say, is this a sign? Yeah, it's a sign that hematite's very brittle. So I wouldn't bother getting a hematite ring. I just had a little chunk of hematite that I keep in my wallet to keep away bad spirits, bad juju, bad luck, that sort of thing. Plus it looks really cool. You can always get them as necklaces and things like that, but as soon as you drill a hole in them or wear them as a ring, they're incredibly brittle and they do break. Okay, which ones do I have? I think I've just answered that. Google says this: called the Stone of Ambition, Goldstone is thought to assist in attaining goals. Some consider Goldstone to be a symbol of ingenuity, ambition, and drive. Yes, I think that's certainly with regard to my ambition. I've definitely never been short of ambition. It's believed to reduce tension, revitalise the wearer, and encourage a positive attitude. And I've always had a positive attitude, so whether that's me or the Goldstone, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll take credit for it. Okay, moving on, I think we're about ready. So, like I said about predicting the future and things like that, I want to talk about, do tarot cards help to predict the future? I'd love to know what you guys think about that, so please put it in the comments. Do tarot cards help to predict the future? They do say that when you're thinking about starting up with the tarot, you should never buy your own cards. I don't know why. Personally, I've never had to buy my own cards, and I know other people who do the tarot regularly and they've never had to buy cards, because as soon as you say to someone, I like tarot, suddenly these cards appear. It's very bizarre. I kind of wish that I could say the same about a Tesla, but never mind. I've seen people put crystals in their glass and then drink water. I have too. Now, you've obviously got to be careful putting anything in your drink that you shouldn't swallow. And obviously one of those things is like a tincture or crystal infusion. You can get crystal infused bottles that have a special cage in it, and you just drop in some crystals, whatever you want to infuse, into the water. And they say that the energy or the vibration of the water goes into, or the crystals goes into the water. To me, that's very much like homeopathy, and I think, frankly, it's nonsense. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever that anything like that performs better than placebo. However, if it makes you feel good, crack on. To reduce tension, revitalise the wearer, positive attitude, and then glasses and water. Yeah, cool. So with regard to the tarot then, I see this as very much like, kind of like any tool, I suppose. With regard to witchcraft, there are tools that you can use, any kind of tool, to help direct your own attention, whether that be a magic wand or a familiar or a scrying mirror or anything like that, just to direct your unconscious mind, which is kind of why, having studied the unconscious mind and how powerful it can be, that's where I believe magic comes from, because I do believe that magic does work, but I think there is a sort of an explanation behind it that we need to delve into a little bit more if we're really going to understand what magic is and how it works. Personally, I think that if you want something badly enough, you'll get it. End of story. But I think you kind of need to believe that you're going to get it, and this is where I don't think anyone's really able to explain how that works. Not only that, I don't think anyone's really able to tutor anybody else on how to do it, because it's kind of like being in the zone of like any kind of sport. As soon as you're in that zone, you know you're in the zone, but you don't necessarily know how to get there. But you've got to play the game, or do the sport, or run that race, or jump that thing, or fight somebody or do whatever it is to get into that zone. When I say fight, I mean in a controlled situation. Don't just go out brawling. But I used to do karate, and that's kind of why I'm thinking along those lines. Chivalrous Tube, you are lighting up the chat all on your own. Other people should do the same. Where are we? So, drinking water. Personally, I don't believe in tarot reading simply because of personal experience. Maybe the witch was bad, I don't know. Certainly, the thing about tarot is that you can read meanings into it because certain cards have certain meanings and upside down cards have other certain meanings. There are some people who definitely come out with Barnum statements, and that's something that I've covered on a previous live stream about whether psychics are all frauds. I don't think necessarily they are, but I do think that they are keen to defraud people sometimes. My sister paid for a reading. Some of the things were right, but the witch got most of the things wrong. I don't know. I think that's a fair point, really, because I actually knew someone who wrote scripts for a famous fortune teller in Plymouth. Whoa, Chivalrous Tube, what are you doing with the emoticons? I'm going to have to ban you in a minute. What happened to my hair? I know, it shrank in the wash, Jelly Duck. Sorry about that. No, it was just really hot a couple of weeks ago. So I shaved it off, and the following day we had thunderstorms. You're welcome.
Wowee.
I don't know whether that's really a spell or just bad karma. Bad juju. It did get very cold very quickly, actually. Although it's started to warm up again now. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Jelly Duck. Thanks very much for coming. So yeah, with regard to some of the things that the witch got wrong for you, Chivalrous Tube, I think is probably just bad luck. I do know people that can do it very well. I do also know people who literally use scripts and they just trot out the same old crap to everybody. I think that's really unethical. I mean, at the very least, even if you're not actually psychic, using your intuition and saying things that you think are coming to you, even if they're not, at least that's coming from a little bit more of an honest place rather than just going, oh, right, I've got a script. And then I'm reading from my phone just in case you can't tell. So, yeah, you are this sort of person. And, you know, it's dreadful. I mean, to come up with a script that you then trot out for every customer, it's just disgraceful, I think. Right, must every witch or wizard belong to a coven? No, absolutely not. There's something called a solitary witch, and that's a perfectly valid path if that's what you want to do. I know a lot of people, and me included, would feel very uncomfortable doing some of the witchcraft stuff that I have done. If there was anybody else even in the house, I would feel very uncomfortable doing that. Like it or not, certainly less so now, but there is a massive stigma about doing magic. When it comes to real magic, I mean, to be honest with you, even doing something like this where you have a pen and you go 1, 2, 3 and it's gone, even something like that is you probably heard it drop. Even doing that sort of magic, that's really it's not cool. I mean, doing illusions isn't really that cool. It's become better, but certainly doing witchcraft kind of magic, if you say to people, you know, I like candles and I make things happen, they'll just look at you like you're mad, probably. So no, when it comes to joining a coven, personally I wouldn't want to. There are also covens that like to get sky-clad, which means naked, and they do all their magic working naked. Sounds like a bit of an orgy to me. I don't quite like the idea. I think it's just I don't know. I mean, if that floats your boat, then great, but not for me at all. Chivalrous Tube, lighting up the chat on fire, like you said. Okay, and Chivalrous Tube is kind enough to put it out. I did wonder whether there were fire engines. Oh, dear me. Brilliant. Love it. You're lucky I'm not barking today. You seem a little bit barking, if I'm honest. Cuckoo. Or what do I do? Do I do this? No, I can't click on the what an idiot thing. I can give you one of these.
21 gigawatts!
I can do that. I probably need the what an idiot somewhere else, but anyway. Whoa, it wasn't behind your ear, magic. I know, crazy, isn't it? So, yeah, it's actually over here. It's not, this one's a different one. But it can do the same thing. Yeah. Sort of. I'll just... Oh! Sort of, I don't know. Really enjoying this conversation with you. I feel very delighted. Awesome, that's cool.
Wow,
yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I try to be honest. I mean, I may not necessarily always be right, but at least I'm trying to be honest. That's the universe telling you I'm not an idiot. You're not an idiot. I'm sure you're not. I mean, I call you an idiot sometimes, but that's only friends. We're friends. Oh, right. Have I covered tarot cards and whether or not they can help with magic? I don't know. What was the question? Can they help to predict the future? Potentially. I think it's a way of directing your attention and directing your unconscious mind, or taking away that sort of conscious filter. And I think this may be something that I think it was Joshua Praise said about predicting the future for themselves rather than for other people. I think often your conscious mind will get in the way. The number of times I've come across things while scrying in a crystal ball, and I consciously I've been like, nah, that's not right. But you say it anyway, and it comes true. It's almost like, I don't know, you see something happening that you would never think in a million years is actually going to happen, and then it does. It's almost removing that conscious thought to say this isn't going to happen, and just go, I'm just going to trust that whatever comes to me is probably right. And it's a very weird feeling when you kind of get into that zone. It takes quite a lot of practice and quite a lot of time and patience. But if you can sit there quietly with a crystal ball and just stare at it for even 15 minutes, things will start to happen. And you'll start to see things, and you probably won't believe it to begin with. But after a couple of weeks of these things starting to come to pass, you'll start to freak yourself out and wonder how on earth you're doing it. I still don't know how I'm doing it, but I do know that you can see the future sometimes. And I know that sounds like a wacko thing to say. I don't care. I've seen enough evidence to think actually there is definitely something in this. But there we are. Good, that's okay. So you said that. Do you trust your intuition? I do. I question my intuition, but I do trust it. There is also something in these sorts of circles that say trust your gut, not your heart. Often your heart will tell you one thing, but that's your passion, that's your ego, that's your conscious mind. Whereas if your gut tightens and sort of says, oh, I don't feel so good about this, and it's almost like your stomach just going, oh, no, I don't know. If your heart goes, but your stomach goes, this is awesome, I trust my stomach more than my heart. And likewise, if you really, really want something with your heart, but your gut kind of tenses and feels a bit dodgy about it, I just won't do that because I know that there's something wrong. People say go with your heart, go with your instincts, and I just think, well, your heart isn't really your instincts, it's more your ego. Personally, I think trusting your gut is much, much better, much more reliable as well. The number of times I've ignored that and gone with my heart and then regretted it. I think my gut has my best interest at heart. How do we know that our magic has worked? I think that's a really good question.
Wowee.
Often you won't. Yeah. Not always something wrong. Sometimes you're just nervous of the results. That is true. But your nerves tend to be a little bit higher, sort of almost here. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And also determining what's nerves and what's just excitement. I think being nervous about something is actually quite a good thing because you know that you're passionate about it. But there's a difference between abject terror and knowing that you've done something wrong. So, or you're about to do something wrong. So, personally, I'd much rather go with something that will scare me a bit, but I know is right. Even if I think it's going to fail. So, for example, I did the whole rebranding of Real Wizardry. I'm saying this, by the way, as it looks like I've suddenly ditched down to 0 viewers. So, hopefully, I'm not talking to an empty room here. And hopefully it's just a glitch in the YouTube stats. But yeah, so I rebranded Real World Magic into Real Wizardry, and my stats I knew were going to take a bit of a kick. I just knew that, and that's okay. But I did it anyway because I felt in my gut that it was the right thing to do and the right time to do it. I knew that it was going to be hard work as well, and it has been. So that hasn't surprised me at all. But I think sometimes doing the right thing can be scary. And yeah, I think you just got to trust your intuition that way, really. I'm not always something wrong. Blah, blah, blah. Mark Ockwell, hello to you.
Wowee.
I'm here just listening as I'm late. Hey, don't worry about it. By all means, join in. We're talking about... at the moment, we're talking about how we know whether our magic has worked, but we're also talking about intuition and whether or not tarot cards can help to tell the future. Tell the future, yeah. And I was just saying, personally, I feel like anything can help you tell the future, provided that you trust your instincts. But I don't necessarily think it's easy, and I think that's often because your conscious mind will get in the way. Of course, I might be wrong. I mean, feel free to argue with me or whatever. But yeah, you use the pendulum yourself. Now, this is quite an interesting one. I don't actually have a pendulum anymore. I don't think. What did I do with that? But I used to use the pendulum, and also I was taught from a very early age how to use dowsing rods. When I say a very early age, I must have been 8 or 9, I think, because I went to a Church of England primary school.
Wowee.
What Church of England basically means is let's crown a May Queen, because that's not pagan at all. Yeah, actually, no, it kind of is. Let's have a sword bearer and banner bearer.
Wowee.
Let's dance around a maypole.
Wowee.
I know. I'm not going to press a wowee for everything. The vicar actually had a big stick, and he would hit the bushes of our village and do a perambulation or a walk around our village and beat out the evil spirits with a big stick. Yeah, I went on I went on several field trips, but one of them I was dowsing for water, and we found it using just dowsing rods, didn't use anything else, and we were just walking around a field and a woodland around our village. Another field trip, we had these really weird glasses, and basically it was just a hook over your eyes like that, and it would come down just to the bridge of your nose, and it would then extend with a mirror facing sort of down like that, so that as you look down, all you could see was sky. Yeah, and we had to then walk around a lumber yard, basically. There was like all these felled trees and logs to trip over and stuff like that. We had to use our intuition because we weren't allowed to see our feet. Yeah, it was probably the most pagan school I could possibly imagine going to, and they called it Church of England because we had a service every Friday. We sang hymns every day, and then we did this sort of weird crap in the background. It's like, yeah, let's sing hymns, shall we? Sing hymn number, Morning Has Broken, and then we'd sort of all go off and learn this really weird magical stuff in the school. And I was just thinking, I'm not sure this is in the Bible. We're dancing around a maypole. We're crowning a May Queen. We've got a banner bearer and a sword bearer. We're making May sticks, and we're beating the crap out of the hedges. I don't know. But there we are. Not been successful with the dowsing rods, I'm guessing. So what you can do, if you really focus hard enough and you sort of take away your conscious mind enough, you can actually use these dowsing rods to find things you think you've forgotten. It's a really weird. I consider it more of a psychological tool rather than magical. And like I said at the very beginning, and I think, Mark, you may have missed this bit, but I think that magic comes from the unconscious mind, and I think there is a scientific explanation for it. I don't know what that is, by the way, but I think if magic exists anywhere, it's in the unconscious mind. What I would say, though, is that if you can get your conscious mind out of your head and just focus on those dowsing rods, I found things like car keys, I found wallets, I found things that I didn't even realise I was looking for. It's more reliable than a metal detector as far as I'm concerned, because it will actually direct you. If you use dowsing rods, I mean, you can use these ones that are sort of joined in the middle. I prefer the ones that you just hold like that and they just cross, because they can actually sort of slide to that way, and then you just follow them, and then they sort of cross over, and then you just keep on walking, and then, I prefer dowsing rods, and I had some really decent ones actually. And I don't know where they've gone. They probably got stuck at my ex-wife's house. But yeah, dowsing rods I think are fantastic tools that you can use to find stuff. I don't quite know how we got onto dowsing rods. So how do we know that our magic has worked? I think the first thing to do is to know what you're trying to achieve with your magic. As long as you can write, not necessarily even write, but at least know where you're headed and what specifically you want. Now, the other thing is that when you're doing magic, I wouldn't be too specific in as much as I want to fall in love with this person. It's more like I want a brilliant relationship. And that way then, rather than being focused on that person there, you're not interfering with their will or anything like that. You're just saying to the universe, this is what I want. And however that is achieved, it doesn't really matter. It's a bit like saying, I want a nice house. It doesn't matter whether that house is gifted to you in a competition or whether you're suddenly given a huge amount of money from, I don't know, a dead relative. I'm not suggesting that you should start killing your relatives. But there's lots of different ways of getting that house, whether that's a mortgage or a sudden windfall or a tax rebate or a pay rise or a career that you never realised you were going to get. However that comes to you is kind of irrelevant. So if you put it out into the universe, I want this, leave it to the universe to work out how. And when it comes to love spells, don't say I want to be with that person, because let's face it, if you got with that person, you might well be very miserable. Whereas if you sort of open it up and say, I want to be in a happy relationship with a person who will love me back, that's good enough, isn't it? As long as you're happy, who cares? And certainly when I did it, because I've done a love spell before, I'm happy to announce that to the world. I kind of, again, focused my unconscious mind through the use of symbols and spells and things like that. And I did a spell to sort of get my conscious mind out of it and not really worry about these people that I was kind of infatuated with at the time. I was thinking, oh yeah, my life's going to be off with them. And then I kind of look back on it now and just think, who? Why was I interested in them? They're just so not the right person for me. And as soon as you get what you wanted, so for me it was that sort of perfect love. As soon as you get that, everything else sort of pales into insignificance. You're just like, well, I didn't want that specific thing. I just wanted this in general. And now that I've got it, I know exactly that I've got it because I was specific enough about that thing. Okay, Mark, I agree with that. Thank you. Mark Ockwell. I got correct 2 births, the sex of a child, with the pendulum, and the third said no. I was confused into I found out that she could not have kids. That's really sad. But I do believe that sort of thing can happen. Now, with the pendulum, again, because it's a long lever, it's using something called the idiomotor effect, or the automotor effect. And idio basically just means automatic. So idiomotor means that your hand is making minor adjustments to the pendulum. It's not doing it by itself, let's face it. Physically, it can't. So if you're using physics and science, it cannot do it on its own. But your conscious mind can influence it, obviously. But I think if you get your consciousness out of it, your unconscious mind, that's kind of where it's doing all its thing. Now, there's something, because I've studied artificial intelligence and psychology and all of this sort of stuff. There's something in artificial intelligence and subject dualism and psychology and philosophy and things like that that says if you have all of the bits of data in the universe, you will be able to predict anything for the rest of time. If you can calculate all of the bits of information in the universe. I believe that that's true because there is a definite route through, quantum physics aside. But I think your unconscious mind can process an awful lot of stuff that your conscious mind just can't. And I think if magic exists, it exists within your unconscious mind. That's my own personal view. But you can cast a spell on someone, right? You can. I'm just going to move my... Yeah, that's better, because otherwise I'm just sort of like this all the time. Yes, you can cast a spell on people. However, it may not work. In order for a spell to work, it relies on the other person believing that it should. There is something called the old witch doctor effect, and there are tribes, mainly in Africa, I believe, and there's a couple in Haiti as well, where if someone does something that requires banishment as a punishment, the tribe will do a ritual whereby they almost erase that person from existence. And what that basically means is that it's sort of an unconscious ritual to kind of program people's minds using symbols. And I've done other videos on this channel all about that sort of thing, about the unconscious mind and using symbols and how magic works and things. This ritual talks about how the individual gets erased, and following the ritual, the whole tribe just ignore them. And it's not that they sort of say, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. They just act like they're not there. They look through them, they walk through them, they just treat them just like they don't exist. And normally, and I say normally, I mean these things don't happen very often, but when they do, the individuals that have been subjected to this ritual end up dying within about 3 days. Simply because they almost believe unconsciously themselves that they don't exist, and so all of their body's systems start shutting down. And it's a very, very weird system, a very weird effect. It's almost like people dying of a broken heart after their partner dies and they've been with their partner for such a long time they can't think of any way of living without them. It's a similar sort of thing with these bodies shutting down because they don't believe that they should exist. It's a very strange thing. So yeah, with regard to casting a spell on somebody, I think it's highly dependent on that person's belief system and whether or not they believe in their heart and in their whole soul, in their body, whether or not that actually works. It's like being sent to Coventry. Yeah, now being sent to Coventry is an interesting term, actually. It comes from during the war, where people were literally sent to Coventry almost as a banishment because there was nothing in Coventry at the time. So yeah, exactly, being sent to Coventry. That's the etymology of being sent to Coventry. Basically, it was said to be a really boring place, and often people would die in such a boring place. There wasn't anything there. There wasn't any farmland there at the time. Yeah. So you can rob stores. Cool, so you can rob stores. I'm not really sure what you mean. For legal reasons, I'm joking. Yeah. Now, interestingly, there are some stories as well about people who have tried to rob stores. I was going to put this in real or fake, and I don't know whether I did or not. So I'm not going to do it, but I'll do it now. So for those of you who haven't who don't understand what on earth I'm talking about, sometimes I do a live show and we play a game called Real or Fake, where I tell you a story and you tell me whether it's real or fake. This is actually real. So there have been people who they hear about the weird effect of if you dip your hands in pineapple or lemon juice, it starts to erase your fingerprints. So it has a micro-acidic effect, almost like microdermabrasion, where it actually erases your fingerprint, makes your fingers go flat. Whoever did this must have sort of either read the science or heard about the science and totally misunderstood, thinking that it makes your fingerprints disappear if you soak your fingers in vinegar or lemon or pineapple or whatever. The pineapple's got an enzyme, vinegar and lemon have an acid. So they all kind of work in a similar sort of way. Anyway, these thieves decided that they would use the lemon juice. Probably also to do with people using lemon juice as invisible ink. During the war, spies would actually write messages in lemon juice and then under a black light, and they also did it with semen as well, but under a black light you could then pick up what that message said. So anyway, they doused themselves in lemon juice and then they went to rob a bank without any mask or any kind of way of obfuscating or hiding their own identity. When they were ultimately caught, and they were caught, what a shock.
Wowee.
They said that they thought that they were invisible. I thought I'd let that laugh out. Lemon juice and what? No, just lemon juice. So they doused themselves in lemon juice. They basically had a lemon juice shower. And they were wearing clothes, but their clothes were also soaked in lemon juice. And they thought that they were invisible. They thought if they walked in covered in lemon juice, they would be invisible and they wouldn't be able to be caught. There were two of them. So you would have thought that one would look at the other and just go, I can still see you, mate. But for some reason, they both went into this bank with guns and said, give us your money. Now, queer as folk, honestly, I find it very, very bizarre. So I think that's everything I've got. And I just wanted to sort of gauge what you guys thought about witchcraft and how it works, and whether or not you think it's like I think it is, all in the unconscious mind, or whether it's something else. Thankfully, I just misheard it. Oh, lemon juice and what? Yeah, so semen also did it as well. So spies would often masturbate and then write secret messages in semen.
Wowee.
Yeah, no, you did hear that right. You didn't mishear it. Yeah, okay, never mind. Right. So, if you did like this live stream, please do click that like button, subscribe, ding that bell button, and all of that jazz. Again, massive shout out to my patrons and members. These guys are fantastic and help me out every month. You can become one of them down there, and it's only £1.99 a month. You can get some awesome benefits. You can also get some little emoticons, like real or fake ones, so you can use them on Saturday, which is when I'm next going live. I haven't released a video today simply because I didn't want to release a mediocre one or a poor one. I'm still editing it at the moment. It's one of my longer ones. I think it's a very interesting story, but I need to present it in a very specific way because it is quite controversial too. Hopefully that will be ready for next week though. And I've also got a spellbook tutorial. It looks like this, and the whole idea is how to make it look like that. I'm still waiting on the books to arrive, so I was hoping it would be here by today, but apparently not. Also down there's also a link to my Etsy store where you can buy potions and stuff like that. I've started adding a few bits and bobs on there. My love potion is now back in stock. Woohoo!
Wowee.
So hopefully we'll be able to get that sorted fairly soon. So if anybody wants any of those, please do let me know. Mark has said, I think it's connected with the mind, but I also think there is a mystery about it too. Absolutely. I don't know what that mystery is, and I can't possibly hope to explain it. But I do think it's something to do with the mind, and yeah, for what it's worth. I wouldn't consider myself an authority on the subject, but that's how I believe it does work. That's certainly from my experience anyway. Okay, I think that's pretty much it from me for now. Please do check out all of this sort of stuff. Super chats are still working. Subscribe and all of that sort of stuff, and I'll see you again in the next one with some more magical awesomeness. But until next time, as always,
Stay magical.
Hello. Remember to like this video, comment if you have anything interesting to say, subscribe, and ding that bell to turn on notifications of next time Neil, goes live or uploads anything. You can also become a patron at Patreon or join as a member of this channel by clicking the link below that looks like this. Members get special benefits, and I'll even say hello to you by name on the live stream every Saturday night at 6 p.m. UK time. Membership starts at £1.99 per month. It's well worth it. You get loads of peanuts for that. That's all for now. See you soon.